On the morning of September 25, 1780, George Washington rode toward the fortress at West Point, expecting breakfast with one of his most trusted generals. Instead, he walked into the wreckage of a conspiracy that nearly ended the American Revolution. Today, the name Benedict Arnold is a synonym for betrayal, yet the Continental Army's early survival depended almost entirely on his specific tactical brilliance. He was the Revolution's most effective weapon long before he became its greatest threat. To understand his turn, we have to look at the shame he spent his life outrunning. Arnold grew up in the shadow of an alcoholic father who publicly drank away the family's wealth and reputation in Norwich, Connecticut. Watching his father face arrest for public intoxication carved a desperate, almost violent need for respect into Arnold's bones. By his 30s, Arnold was an aggressive shipping merchant, tireless in business, and fiercely protective of his status. He was thin-skinned and proud. When a sailor at a port tavern spoke poorly of him, Arnold immediately challenged the man to a duel. He was a man who refused to be disrespected. Arnold lived as a man pathologically obsessed with his own honor. But as his military career progressed, that pursuit of respect would lead him to commit the one act that guaranteed he would be despised forever. Arnold's first act of the war set a pattern that would define his life. He proposed and led an operation to capture the cannons at Fort Ticonderoga. It was a massive tactical success, but a backwoodsman named Ethan Allen maneuvered to take the sole credit. Politicians sided with Allen, and Arnold's official commission was quietly revoked. He responded by attempting the impossible, leading an expedition through the uncharted Maine wilderness in freezing rain to attack Quebec. His men ate shoe leather to survive. During the siege, Arnold took a musket ball through his left leg, refusing to leave the battlefield. For this staggering physical sacrifice, Congress offered zero public thanks. Look at this diagram of Lake Champlain in 1776. A massive British naval force is sailing south to split the colonies in half. Arnold, with almost no naval experience, quickly built a ragtag fleet of flat-bottomed boats and hid them behind Valcour Island, ambushing the professional British Navy. He lost the battle, but he delayed the invasion by a full year, saving the northern colonies. You might expect a promotion for saving the entire northern front. Instead, Congress passed over Arnold entirely, promoting 5 junior officers ahead of him, men who had done significantly less and risked nothing. In Arnold's mind, a ledger was forming. On one side, he was risking his fortune and his physical body for the cause. On the other side, the country he fought for was returning his sacrifices with indifference and political backstabbing. The breaking point arrived in the fall of 1777 at the Battle of Saratoga. Sidelined by a cautious General Horatio Gates, Arnold mounted his horse and rode directly into the fighting without orders. He rallied the troops by sheer force of personality, leading aggressive assaults that broke the British lines. But the cost was immense. A Hessian soldier shot Arnold's horse, which collapsed onto his already injured left leg, shattering the bone in 3 places. As Arnold lay agonizing in a military hospital, his leg 2 inches shorter and permanently mangled, he watched General Gates take sole credit for the victory. Unable to ride, Arnold was appointed military commander of Philadelphia. He arrived broken. He suffered from chronic pain, walked with a heavy limp, and was completely out of money. He had spent his own fortune funding troops during the Quebec campaign, and the Continental Congress simply never paid him back. Desperate for cash, he used government wagons to transport private goods. Pennsylvania's civilian government accused him of corruption, resulting in a court-martial. For a man who had nearly died twice for the Revolution, receiving a formal public reprimand from George Washington felt like the ultimate insult. Around this time, he married an 18-year-old loyalist named Peggy Shippen. She was close friends with a British intelligence officer named Major John Andre. With Peggy's help, Arnold initiated a secret correspondence with the British, writing in invisible ink and a book cipher. Arnold looked at his physical scars and his empty bank accounts and realized America was never going to pay him his due. He decided to find someone who would. Arnold lobbied Washington hard for command of West Point. When we look closely at the 1780 etching of the sprawling fortress, you can see how it completely dominates the vital Hudson River waterway. Arnold immediately began dismantling it from the inside. dispersing troops on useless errands, ignoring crumbling walls, and selling off the garrison's provisions. The plan was simple. If the British easily captured these highlands, they would sever French supply lines and likely crush the rebellion. Arnold calculated the exact worth of American independence, offering to hand over the fortress for £20,000 and a brigadier general's commission in the Royal Army. But the plot unraveled completely. As seen in this engraving, 3 American militiamen stopped British spy Major John Andre on a rural road near Tarrytown. Andre was dressed in civilian clothes. When they searched him, they found detailed drawings of West Point's artillery positions tucked inside his boots. The moment Arnold heard of Andre's capture, he fled down the Hudson to a British warship. Because the fortress didn't fall, the British only paid him a fraction of the promised money. He spent the remainder of the conflict in a miserable limbo, hunted by Americans who wanted him dead, and distrusted by British officers who saw his loyalty as a commodity. Arnold eventually sailed for England, expecting to be welcomed as a hero. He wasn't. He spent his final years in London sinking into debt and depression, his body racked with chronic pain from the leg that had been shattered fighting for the very country he betrayed. If you visit Saratoga National Historical Park today, you will find this stone carving of a single military boot. It honors the most brilliant soldier of the Continental Army, commemorating the exact spot where he fell and suffered a grievous wound. But you won't find his name anywhere on it. It is the only war memorial in America dedicated to a body part instead of a person. A hero's physical contribution remembered, a traitor's identity erased. It forces a question that we still struggle to answer. What exactly do you owe a man who gives everything for a country that gives him nothing back?